Hi everyone, my name is Silvia Cacciamatta, and as you may know, I am the tutor of this Service Design and Innovation course with Professor Daniela Sangiorgi. I welcome you on this course, even though it's not face-to-face yet. Hopefully we will see each other in class in the future. Today I would like to talk to you about a project that I attended a few years ago, which is called Bitride Bike Sharing. But before doing that, let me introduce a little bit about myself. I studied at Politecnico di Milano. I did my bachelor in interior design. And after that, I studied product service system design, as you. I went in Germany for my Erasmus at Fachhochschule University in Hannover. And when I came back, I worked for a few years and I realized that I wasn't done studying, so I went back to school and I attended the second edition of the Service Design Master at Polydesign. Thanks to this master, I had the opportunity to work with big companies and big service design agencies like Deutsche Bank and Deloitte Digital. But after a few years, I decided I wanted to work as a freelance. So now I'm a service designer and researcher working mainly with Politecnico di Milano. I'm mostly interested in co-design approaches and design for the sharing economy. And at the moment, I'm working with Daniela and I'm involved into a project related to the mental health. One is in collaboration with the Department of Neuropsychiatry in the Hospital of Brescia, related to the word of recovery. And another one is with children and youth dealing with mental health problem. And the scope of the project is to design an integrated and innovative mental health center for daycare services. The project I would like to talk to you about has involved, as you can see from these slides, few stakeholders. The main company was Zeus, which is an Italian company operating in the field of electric-propelled transport vehicles. And then besides Politecnico di Milano, another big company involved was AMAT, the Milanese Agency for Mobility, Environment and Territory, which was in charge of providing strategic planning and technical studies for the urban mobility. Service designers in this project collaborated with Zeus in order to design an innovative and effective bike sharing model that took in consideration both the business and the user's perspective. And mainly we supported them in designing the overall experience of the service and its main touchpoint. So Bitride Bike Sharing ended up being an app-based free-floating bike sharing service for the urban context that used hybrid bikes. It was an Horizon 2020 project founded by the European Commission. It started in February 2017 and ended in December 2018, so a little bit more than 1 year ago. The technology implemented by Zeus was able to convert bikes into full hybrid electric bikes, so normal muscular bikes into electric bikes, and to support in this way users and improve their efficiency while riding. In fact, prior starting this project, the company was developing and selling the patented technology to bikes and e-bikes manufacturers. So their intuition at this point was to exploit the potential of this technology, hybrid technology, and to introduce new bike sharing models into the urban context, in particular of Milan. Here you can see the overall different phases of the project, from the research phase, desk and field, to the design and development, till the implementation and refinement phase. The methodology adopted by a design researcher has been the action research, during which we, together with Zeus managers, employees, a mobility expert of the Milan municipality, and potential end users, were involved throughout the whole process in a co-design approach in order to frame the research questions and validate them step by step through experiment, prototypes, and tests. Here we can see the main three phases of the project that highlight in a way the strong collaboration between us as design researchers and the project stakeholders in a co-design approach. The research phase mainly consisted in at the analysis of the literature on shared mobility with trends and case studies in order to understand the current shared mobility context and its evolution in the future. Other activities we did were some meetings with the stakeholders and some experts involved in the field in order to then gain information and expertise about this topic. And these activities helped us as researcher to frame the context of operation and the research framework and gain specific knowledge and expertise around this topic in order to identify then possible future scenarios based on emerging issues that at the moment were, for example, wild parking, vandalism, and the impact that such services were having on the urban environment. As you can see from these pictures, all those were bikes, stolen bikes actually, in the Chinese markets when the famous free-floating services like Mobike and Ofo were launched in this country. The second step of the process aimed at transforming the research insights and interpretation into ideas. So during the concept generation phase, we organized a co-design workshop with all the stakeholders and potential users, regardless of their specific design knowledge, in an intense process of co-creation. And this has allowed us to generate an innovative service concept and design a first version of the customer journey map of the overall free-floating bike sharing service, in order then to visualize and detail the user experience, highlighting the physical and digital touchpoints necessary to interact with the service. The third phase of the project was dedicated to the service development, which meant detailing the service solution in terms of back office and front office processes, relations occurring among the stakeholders inside and outside the provider organization, resources, competencies, and technologies required to perform the service. And the main activities were different co-design activities with the stakeholders in order to understand the implication of the user interaction with the service provider. Some co-design sessions and tests of the Bitride app with the potential users in order to meet in a more efficient way their needs and expectations. And the results of these activities were the definition of a detailed customer journey map describing all the interaction of the users, and the design of the main touchpoint of the service that was, in this case, the Bitride app. As a result, from these first few phases of the project, the design team was able to identify and design some main innovative characteristics of the service that could differentiate it from competitors, but could also allow the service to answer specific needs, both of the business and the users. And one example is the riding mode, so the possibility to ride the bikes in 3 different modes. So there were the hybrid mode, which improved the efficiency of users during the riding, optimizing their effort. The boost mode that was able to provide users with an electric boost for 10 minutes and then turning the bike into the hybrid mode again. And then the standard mode that required user to put more effort, as if they were, for example, riding like a normal and traditional muscular bike. And it was functional to recharging the bike batteries. Another important features that Bitride adopted was the bottom-up approach for the relocation of bikes. So Bitride, in fact, engaged user in a kind of peer relocation process thanks to a scoring system based on points that was able to reward users on their active contribution to the service and their responsible behaviors. So, for example, parking specific parking areas, or using bikes that were in need of power, in need of energy, or, for example, communicating any problem with the service or the bikes, allowed user to then gain points that then they were able to reuse in the service. As you can see from these slides, the last phases of the project were mainly focused in understanding more and more the potential users within the context of operation, that in our case was the city of Milan, and their mobility habits, in order to select an heterogeneous sample of users that could test the service, and that could help us in defining the key elements of the service to be tested. We did that through a call of participants that was open to the population of Politecnico di Milano. We selected 150 more or less users among professors, students, employees of the university. And we also did research conducted through surveys that were submitted before and after the pilot. Following this user research, it was the implementation phases. So we ran two pilots. We tested the bike sharing service in two different moments. Each pilot lasted 3 months, more or less. And the selected user were then able to use the service for real. And thanks to some evaluation sessions, interviews, surveys conducted during this period, we were then able to collect their opinions, suggestions, considerations, and problem occurred during the tests, in order then to refine and adjust the experience and the technology, and evaluate as well the service and its touch points. That was, in this case, mainly the Bitride app. As you probably perceived from this presentation, service designer in this project played an important role as a general, let's say, director. We were able to coordinate and integrate all the different aspects of the project that influence an interaction of a user with a service. So starting, for example, from the customer journey, that here you can see part of it. This customer journey, in my opinion, shows the importance of identifying what are the experience that users are having, how they understand the service, how they feel while they're doing it, how the service is able to answer their specific mobility needs within a specific context in which they are using this bike sharing service. Another tool we used was the blueprint, from which you can see that we had the challenge, but at the same time the opportunity to design each moment of interaction between the user and the service system, from the moment the user enters in contact with the system to the moment he or she get to an expected result. So we considered both the user perspective and the corresponded also actions that the service provider, so Zeus in this case, needed to do in its back office in order for this interaction to take place and to meet also the user expectations. Here you can see what was in the end the service offering. So we defined the primary functionalities that the service offered to its clients, from the fleet of bikes, the digital platform and the Bitride app, together with a mapping and a very profound understanding of the areas in which the service was taking place, the scoring system that I already described, so how it works, the points, the fact that they can reuse these points for free rides, and also the fare structure, so how the service would have costs in, let's say, real life. So the pricing system. Mm, the service design and co-design approach applied to this project played, I think, a crucial role for the company as well, because prior to this project, as I already said, Zeus' business model focused mainly in exclusively developing and selling the technology. But the dynamic nature of the company, as well as the aim and scope of this project, allowed the shift from a product based to a service based model for this company. So, in this system map, you can see how the company became the heart and the core element of the bike sharing service, coordinating then the different supply chain, the vehicle, the technology supply chain, the outsourced services, and was able to shift from simply being a supplier to a service provider. I hope that this brief description of a real project can help you in understanding the values and the importance of the service interactions and the service experiences as well, and the different elements that altogether define the complexity of a service and of a project that is dealing with designing a service. Um, Regarding the approach or the tools or the methods we used during this project, I'll be more than happy if you have any questions, if you have any doubt, or you want to clarify some parts of these presentations. You can send me an email, or hopefully when we will see in class, we can discuss about it. For now, I wish you good luck for your first assignment, and see you next time. Bye.